My problem is more so with LeBron. If you are the greatest player, if people are saying you are the greatest player, or if people are saying Michael Jordan is the greatest player, why do you need to say it? Michael Jordan has never, ever said he's the greatest player to ever play the game. He's respected all the other players before him.
All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you all are having a good day so far. So I saw this video pop up on my feed from Squad Dawkins, and it's called When Scottie Pippen Would Fight Anyone Who Disrespected Michael Jordan. I think this is going to be an interesting video, honestly, because it's the thing, and it's probably going to be a hard video for me to watch, honestly, as well, because I grew up with the Jordan and Pippen duo, and I loved that duo. In fact, for me, like quick little story for the intro here, like, I have an older brother. He's the one who taught me how to play basketball, and we used to always play twos, and I'd always be comfortable playing the Pippen role, because my older brother was the master, essentially, the teacher. So he'd play the Jordan role, and we'd always do it, He'd be like, I'm Jordan, you're Pippen, let's win this. And I would go out there and do all my dirty work, facilitate, play defense. I got long arms like Pippen. So, like, the whole point is, like, I grew up, like, thinking this is how it's done. One person takes the higher role, one person takes the lower role, and this is how we win. And we did win. Pretty much all the time we won. Now to go and see years later how bitter Scottie Pippen has become, really, there was enough stuff going on during the pandemic that I didn't need this, but like hearing Scottie Pippen come out and just bash Michael Jordan during the pandemic after The Last Dance came out, like, I was just like, man, what the hell happened to this world? Like, even this partnership is dead in the water now. But anyways, without further ado, I'm going to link the original video down below. Like I said, it's going to be probably a difficult one for me to watch, because literally I grew up thinking Scottie Pippen was somebody I wanted to emulate as far as like my ego goes, where I wouldn't let my ego take over and think I always have to be this or else I'm not valid or whatever. But then to see now that he's so bitter about it, I'm like, damn, he didn't have control of his ego at all, it turned out. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit rough for me. But anyways, I'm babbling on the intro. So link is down below for the original video in the description if you want to check it out. Everybody, please leave this video a like. It'll help push it out. I appreciate you all. All right, let's see what we got here.
I seen Michael Jordan play before I came to play with the Bulls. He's a horrible player.
Yeah.
The greatest duo.
How is that real, by the way? Just that one statement. How did that actually happen in reality?
Basketball history, torn apart by a documentary. Today, Scottie Pippen trashes Michael Jordan every chance he gets.
Yeah, he
Says
does.
MJ was selfish, claims he was a horrible player before they played together. Even wrote a whole book attacking his former teammate. But it wasn't always like this. Before The Last Dance changed everything, Pip had a totally different view of Jordan. Here's what Scottie publicly stated about MJ before the release of The Last Dance.
Now, so why I wanted to watch this was because this is going to remind me of why that hurt so much. Because Scottie used to always defend MJ, and MJ always still to this day defends Scottie. They had a pact, and then Scottie broke it.
Here he is at his Hall of Fame induction, one of the most monumental and iconic moments in a basketball player's career.
Yeah.
Naturally, Scottie chose MJ to present him on his special day.
What an honor it is for me as a basketball player to have the all-time great presenting me here tonight. It was so valuable to me as a player to see someone who had the same desire, determination, passion, and love for the game. Who knew that number 23 would be here 23 years later, presenting me to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. MJ, you have touched so many people's lives, but none like mine. Thank you for being the best teammate. I will always cherish that experience, and I will cherish our relationship forever. Thank you.
For years,
And just so you guys know, you don't often, if ever, I'm going to go off on a limb here and say I've never seen Jordan be the presenter for somebody other than Scottie Pippen. Like, this bond was real,
And I will cherish our relationship forever. Thank you.
For years, Scottie Pippen repeatedly praised Michael Jordan as the greatest player of all time in various interviews, maintaining this stance until 2020. In one such interview, Pippen reacted dismissively when asked to compare LeBron James and Michael Jordan, calling the question dumb and firmly stating his preference for Jordan.
You're picking and you're the coach or you're playing and you need the running mate and you could have LeBron or Michael. Who you picking?
That's a dumb question. I'm gonna take LeBron or Michael. I've never done anything with LeBron, so I wouldn't take LeBron to the movies with me.
Good, okay. That's
the best answer we've ever had from a guest in 5 years on this show.
In 2018,
I wouldn't take LeBron to a movie with me. Man, see, that's so when everyone is all freaking out now because it's like, oh, Scottie was Jordan's teammate, and Scottie says Jordan sucks, or Jordan was selfish, or all that stuff. I hate that it hits this new generation because they all saw The Last Dance and they saw the aftermath of it. They're not seeing all these years of things that Scottie has said about Jordan. They're just seeing this now that Scottie. Let's be real. Scottie went through some really hard times. Really, really hard times in his personal life, and then he took The Last Dance as a personal attack from Jordan, and then he attacked. He also attacked Phil Jackson too, so he wasn't well. He said a lot of bad things, but unfortunately, those things washed out all the years and years and multiple positive things he said about MJ throughout all the years. It's unfortunate, but yeah, this video is going to serve as a reminder of that bond that they had.
In responding to Isaiah Thomas's claim that he would choose LeBron over MJ, Pippen emphatically declared once again that there wasn't a single game where he would pick LeBron over Jordan.
I find that comment they're just hating.
It is.
I've never seen this.
It's funny. So yeah, it's obvious that Isaiah's hating when it comes to this because he's got a huge rivalry with Jordan. Now Scottie's doing the same thing though.
Embrace or thank Michael Jordan for what he's done for the game, done for our league, done for all the kids out here in terms of basketball. Michael Jordan is the greatest player to ever put on shoes and play in our game. No doubt about it. I'm always asked about questions to compare him to LeBron. I try to make the best of it.
You try to make the best of it.
I've tried to make the best of it, but really, the comparison shouldn't ever be made. They both play two different positions. The way LeBron James play, Michael Jordan was never asked to play that way because I took that away from him. I was the point forward. I was the facilitator.
And real quick, this is why a lot of us actually would rather compare LeBron James to Scottie Pippen than to Michael Jordan. Because Jordan, just like Scottie said, that Jordan and not only Jordan and Pippen didn't play a similar style, except for defensively, but on the offensive end, they didn't play a similar style. But Jordan and LeBron definitely don't play a similar style at all, nor do they even play the same position. LeBron's a point forward, and Jordan is an off-the-ball shooting guard for the successful years of his career. That's how he played. And yeah, so the comparison would make more sense to be Scottie Pippen and LeBron James because they both played a very similar style. I'm with him on this. This was sober Scottie.
Jordan is a scorer. He was a defender. He played the game as complete as LeBron James did when he needed to, but he was asked to score the basketball, and that's what he was great at. And there's no game that I would ever play in and pick LeBron James over Michael Jordan.
Yes, sir.
Game.
No game.
So now you're just being
Not if I'm trying to win. Not if I'm trying to win. I mean, I'm not going to give up my teammate who I won 6 championships with and go and start fishing in a pond thinking I'm going to catch a bigger and better fish. When you play with a guy like Michael, who's a superior scorer, and I played most of my career with him, and when you hear a guy come out the huddle and you see that he wants the ball and he's working for it night in and night out, you can't compare him to LeBron because he's not that guy. LeBron is not going to be the guy that say, I want this last shot.
No.
Yeah,
Get me the ball.
it's going back to...
I hear that from Michael. I've heard that from him.
Look how accurate he was back then when he was sober. He's dead on. LeBron is not that guy, and obviously MJ's that guy.
No matter what the situation is, get me the ball.
Yeah.
And basically that tells me, get him the ball or I'm calling timeout.
While
It goes back to their, it's funny because this is the same setting of what I was about to talk about. The Game 6, the very end of the game, 98 finals. Last time they actually played basketball together for the Chicago Bulls. And they asked Scottie about the final play where, Jordan got the steal on Karl Malone. And that's it. He wasn't going to call a timeout. And Scottie had a really busted up back that day. It was locking up on him, so he was he was kind of worthless offensively, but he was out there just to be a DK. Anyways, so Scottie was out there toughing it out. They asked him, "What were your thoughts during that play?" And Scottie said, "Get the fuck out of the way," because Jordan's gonna do what Jordan does, So when you got that guy on your team, you don't have to worry about those moments outside of maybe go and try and get a rebound, box out in case he misses, but you don't have to worry about it. MJ's gonna get that shot off just like Bird would have, and just like Kobe would have. There's those couple of guys who are just what they're gonna do. But yeah, LeBron James has never been that dude. He has never been that guy. When he takes the last shot, it's 9 out of 10. It's a clank. And usually he just passes off at the last second and sets somebody else up to fail. It's or sometimes he gets bailed out by one of his teammates. But yeah, Scottie never had to take that burden on.
Michael Jordan is the greatest to ever grace a basketball court. A select few have come close to matching his greatness, with Kobe Bryant being one of them. In 2018, Pippen drew a comparison between the two legends in terms of their shooting skills.
I say this, and I may be wrong. There's no way MJ could outshoot Kobe. I said Kobe was a better outside shooter than Michael.
I agree with that.
Especially early on in his career. I talked to a friend this morning, Ron Harper. We talked about these two. And man, he said that there's no player ever, and we all know this, that you could ever compare to Mike more so than Kobe.
In terms of type of
Ron
mentality, no.
mentality, yeah. I've never been around two guys who are more similar.
Yeah, I mean,
in the way
he
they thought
lived around
about the
both
game.
of these guys, and he said Kobe did everything like Mike. I mean, it was like he copied everything that Mike did, from eating to sleeping to his interview.
Being angry at people.
I look back at Kobe.
By the way, how cool is it? I miss old ESPN. We used to have this show on all the time. It's Scottie Pippen. We got a T-Mac over here and a Rachel Nichols over here. Like, that was some good basketball discussions that were happening, and they weren't fighting and debating and shouting at each other. They were just talking hoops most of the time. Now, this is a true thing. When I make a starting five, like an all-time starting five, Scottie's not lying here. So Kobe had a different type of deep ball than Jordan did. He would play ISO and have a three-point shot that can go out, pretty much whatever range he wants to, and he can shoot it right in someone's face. So I'd always put Kobe Bryant at the shooting guard position on my starting five, and then I'd put Jordan in the post and the small forward position. So I always said it. Jordan is superior in the mid-range and in the paint, and then Kobe is a little superior when it comes to being out there for the perimeter and a deep ball. That's all. Outside of that, there's very, very little differences between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Eating to sleeping to his interview.
Being angry at people.
I look back at Kobe and I watch his growth and development. He was one of those players that idolized Michael Jordan, but he mimicked Michael Jordan.
Emulated him
in a lot of ways. And it was a guy that, I watched him watch films on one of the greatest players that ever played the game, and he emulated his game to the T, and to some degree overcame all of his weaknesses and became, to me, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Those guys really set the bar in terms of guys that could play, two-way players, played hard on both ends of the court. Kobe wanted to be known as the greatest player to ever play the game. I mean, he wanted to be better than Michael Jordan. He wanted people to realize that he was right there and that he put in the work to let you know that, he is one of the greats.
And part of the reason why I respect Kobe Bryant so much is that he did come so close. Yes, that's only part of it, though. Like, he did come that close to Michael Jordan's level of greatness. And I don't want to say he's there. He's not there. But he came, I mean, closer than I ever thought I would witness somebody getting. He emulated Jordan's style. It looked very similar. He had the same mentality, the killer mentality. And, you know, there's just obvious differences, which I don't really need to go into here. Like, you know, jumping ability for Jordan, the big hands for Jordan, and, you know, the mid-range game was better for Jordan, and the deep ball was better for Kobe. You know, like, there's just slight differences here. But the whole point I want to get to is what always makes me respect Kobe is that he did it the right way. He didn't cheat. You know, he wasn't out there building super teams. He wasn't team hopping to ring chase. Like, he was trying to do the thing that Jordan did, but do it better. He came up short, but that's what he was trying to do. He wanted to get 7 championships, and he wanted to get those in LA. And he ended up getting 5 in LA. You know, so that's why I always say he came pretty damn close, because I know what his goal was. His mission was to win 7 championships and bring them all to the Lakers, so he can say, MJ, I got one more than you. Just like MJ can say to Magic, I got one more than you. You know, this is just the way it goes. But yeah, that's why I respect him, because he wasn't trying to stack the deck and cheat. He was doing whatever he could to win. And when it comes to greatness, I always have to take points off on people like a Kevin Durant or LeBron James and players like this who are just out there super team building and team stacking and also ring chasing. You know, because you're not doing it the same way that the older generations did it, which was like the honorable, hard way. And that's why I'll always give Dirk Nowitzki a lot of credit too, because yeah, he only got one, but he did it the right way, the hard way.
Flu game is a historic moment in the annals of basketball history, unfolded during the 1997 NBA Finals.
The flu game, you mean the pizza game?
Faced off against the Utah Jazz. Battling a high fever and severe illness, Jordan remarkably scored 38 points, propelling the Bulls to a pivotal victory. Here's Pippen talking on this moment and making some interesting comments about it in 2018.
So we all knew, and it was kind of thrown up in the air whether or not Michael would be playing. But
so you guys thought he might not play?
Yeah, well, some of the guys did.
Right.
But it was one of those situations where really it was a 50-50 chance that he may or may not play. But knowing Michael like I did and the years that I spent with him, I kind of knew he was going to make an effort. And, you know, come game time, you know, he showed up, he was on the bus and pretty much did his same routine. You know, you could see that he was real sluggish and laying around. So I just felt like I'm going to have to give him a little bit of a lift to get through this one tonight. And I could just see it in his eye. He was weak, and you know, I just wanted to be more offensive minded and stay aggressive. I got on the post and was trying to do the things that I could to keep us going early, and knowing that Michael, you know, he had always been our closer. Yeah. So I knew down the stretch I was going to need some of that Jordan-ness to come out, and some of his heroics. And you know, it was just one of those games where he finally was able to find himself and, you know, get that second win. And once he got going, it was one of those games that you just wanted to be a part of. You just will never forget how he was able to find such energy and such desire to win that game for us. You know what? Michael wasn't saying...
It's crazy, because even when Jordan is sick and throwing up, Scottie still knows his place, which is, I need a closer. Once again, you got to go back to like the LeBron thing, you know, like LeBron needs a closer. He had D-Wade, he had Kyrie, AD, all these guys. Scottie needed a closer too, and that was proven during the time when Jordan wasn't around, when Jordan retired the first time. And Scottie wasn't a closer. Tony Kukoc ended up being the new closer. But here he is recognizing, even when Jordan is sick and puking, I can get us so far, but I need Jordan to somehow close out this game. I don't remember him saying that. So that was really interesting. The crazy thing is Jordan still kind of carried, because he had 38 points and he was the closer. I don't know how Jordan did this stuff, man. How did he put up 38 in an NBA Finals game against the Utah freaking Jazz, the best Utah Jazz team ever, while he's sick and has no energy, and it even went down to the wire, and he had to be clutch at the end to win this game? You can't make this stuff up. Movies could never be as good as the reality was.
And much, he just had this look like he was living in his own world. And then, you know, he wasn't even being aggressive offensively as the Michael that I have known or come to know.
Yeah, he was dead out
throughout that game, you could just see he started to feel it a little bit. And as always, once he started to feel it, we just flooded with the basketball. But you know, he was very quiet. Didn't say much when he went to the bench. He was just kind of in his own world. And for guys who've never played with Michael, I've played with him, so I've seen these moments where he kind of shunned everybody out.
Right.
Yeah,
that was one of those moments where he was just trying to gather himself and just you know, stay in the game. We thought at any moment he may go to the locker room or puke up on the floor.
You basically carrying him off the floor. What was? Tell me what it
was
felt
easy.
like.
You know, he carried me for like 11 seasons.
See,
Very good.
how did we get so far away from this? Scottie saying he carried me for 11 seasons, and now Scottie is pretending nowadays that he was like the better player, and wants to be remembered as the best player ever. This is hard, guys. This is hard to watch because this is the Scottie Pippen I loved. You know, I looked up to this man so much, man. Yeah, and Jordan's just crazy, man. Jordan, like, the fact that he was able to do it. I remember watching, because I rewatched this flu game, this pizza game, pretty recently. And the one thing I can notice, like Scottie was saying, like, he didn't have that much energy. No, he had like zero energy. He was just barely getting up and down the court. Whenever he got the ball, he was very passive. So he'd either get rid of the ball fast, or MJ would make a quick like 1-2 move and get a shot off. Oftentimes it was coming up short because he was so weak. But that's pretty much all the energy he had in him, was to make just a quick move and get a shot off. And somehow still, in that fashion, he still came up at 38. It was a godlike performance.
But no, it was great. You know, me and Michael, we had a special bond, and you know, we had been together for so long, and you know, it was just one of those games.
Yeah, you blew it.
It was one of the most important games of our careers. And
And he's clinging to you in this moment. I've never seen him. I have never seen him like this before.
You know what?
since.
I felt that at some moment he didn't really know where he was at. He didn't
Really?
know what he was doing or what was going on, because I think he was probably medicated a little bit and trying to, you know, fight the bug. He was exhausted.
He was delusional.
You know, the series wasn't over yet, and really it was time for us to start trying to put that 48-hour treatment in him, because we were going to be right back on the court. So we had to make sure we get a lot of fluids in him and, you know, get him ready for Game 6.
In 2017,
Crazy.
during another appearance on First Take,
I would watch Jordan be on the bench in that game, and yeah, his eyes were open, but it really looked like a man who was just like meditating. Like Scottie said, like he wasn't really there. He was in his own little world, his own little zone, in order to get through this. And I can relate to that. I've medicated through like operations and, you know, all kinds of painful situations, just to like numb out the pain and like to like push out the pain to not focus on it. And that's what I would always see from Jordan. Like he zoned himself out. He was in a different place and a different mindset from the rest of the team, and somehow it worked. But he couldn't be distracted by everybody. He had to be on his own that day.
Pippen discussed the greatness of both Michael Jordan and LeBron James. He also claimed he would
How close is LeBron to catching MJ? Getting there, 35%, not even close, 33%. He's already there, 32%. Wow.
Pippen discussed the greatness of both Michael Jordan and LeBron James. He also claimed he would never speak ill of Jordan,
He was on
a
First
statement
Take.
that, of course, turned out to be completely untrue.
Yeah, it did.
Michael Jordan or LeBron James, better? Who are you going with?
Yeah, it was, and this is when basketball media turned into a shout debate fest. I know he's got a ton of fans. He's the biggest guy in sports media, but I remember when it was more conversations and praise of basketball, love of basketball. Stephen A. and Skip Bayless, those two combined in First Take, turned it into a game of hate. You know, battle, battle, battle. If you're going to be arguing one side over the other, that means you're usually bashing the other side. So then all we ended up hearing within like a First Take segment is everybody get bashed. And it just depends on whose side you're on.
Go with Michael Jordan.
Okay.
But statistically, LeBron James is a better basketball player.
How is it that you talk about Michael Jordan like LeBron James is in the same sentence as him? Why do you do that?
Hold on. I would never diss Michael Jordan. I will always pick him over LeBron.
What would Michael Jordan have done in this era?
Oh, he would have killed.
Bottom line, you love him dearly.
I played that way.
You love him dearly, but he's not MJ.
No, he's not MJ.
Well, there's hope for you after all, Scottie.
All right.
There's hope for him after all.
Thank you.
In another,
And that's fair. LeBron, Scottie can relate to LeBron more because they play more of a similar style, and they have the very similar weaknesses and strengths. So he can relate to LeBron when he's watching him on the court more. I understand that, but he's still at the same time, he's like, no, Jordan's the better player. But that's because when he was playing with Jordan, Scottie recognized that Jordan was the better player. So if you put LeBron James and Jordan on the same team, we know LeBron's got to play the Pippen role, and Jordan's going to be the man.
appearance in First Take in 2019.
Sorry for talking so much during this one, you guys. Like, I warned you in the beginning. This one's kind of a sensitive subject for me because I've been watching this stuff since I was a kid, and this was my Batman and Robin. Like, this is what I grew up looking up to. It wasn't a comic book. It was real life, and it was Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And I watched them shoot from basically the time I was able to start watching basketball and remember basketball all the way till the time where I was like graduating high school and going out into the world. I saw these two together all the way till 98.
Pippen talked again on the differences between MJ and LeBron, stating that James doesn't have clutch genes like Jordan and Bryant.
True. And people have compared him to the Michael, to the Kobe's, and it's a different position. It's not fair judgment for him to be compared to Michael because they're two different players. When I look at LeBron, he's not what Michael was as a player. He's not even what Kobe Bryant was as a player.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you talk about trying to compare Michael's instinct, his ability to take over games, his ability to want to have that last shot.
And demoralize you.
Yes.
And scare the living hell out of you.
By the way, yeah, that says it all right there.
LeBron doesn't have that gene.
So, Scottie.
That's not in him.
Right.
Kobe has that, that gene.
In 2019, LeBron James declared himself...
I'm going to be totally honest here. The worst thing that LeBron James ever did was put on the number 23. He started these comparisons right off the bat. And then while wearing number 23, he called himself the greatest of all time. We can't help but to defend Jordan now. If LeBron James was number 2, jersey number 2, played in Cleveland, played in Miami, went to LA, all this crap, and didn't call himself the greatest of all time, there would be no beef here. There would be no problem. He would just be another really good basketball player, you know, especially at this point, playing for like 1,000 years. You'd be like, man, yeah, LeBron James was a pretty good basketball player, huh? You know, maybe put him around the top 10, somewhere in the top 10. That's pretty great. You know, there's nothing but greatness in that top 10. But no, he had to immediately come out and be number 23, so the comparison started from day one. Because LeBron James doesn't want to play like Jordan. He can't play like Jordan. So he shouldn't have welcomed these comparisons. It's the worst thing to ever happen for LeBron James, in my opinion. He would have had universal praise if he didn't do that. Because he shouldn't be. He should have been compared to a Scottie Pippen. Even a Larry Bird. You know what I mean? But Bird's different because Bird was a freaking clutch killer. So then I would give Bird the edge. But that's more of a fair comparison than to compare him to Jordan. Like, Jordan is just he's not even close.
the GOAT on several shows, citing his 2016 championship victory and his historic comeback from a 3-1 deficit in the finals as proof of his greatness. However, Pippen took issue with that claim.
My problem is more so with LeBron is if you are the greatest player, if people are saying you are the greatest player, or if people are saying Michael Jordan is the greatest player, why do you need to say it? Michael Jordan has never, ever said he's the greatest player to ever play the game. He's respected all the other players before him. So for LeBron to say that, he's sort of pulling himself out of it because you can't say you're the greatest player. You have to allow your peers in the world to say that. I think it's pretty great that a guy won 3 titles, left for 2 years, came back and won 3 more. That is considered greatness to me.
Yeah, greatness is never self-declared. Greatness is, it happens by the public. The public just overwhelmingly praises you and says this one thing: you're the greatest, that he's the greatest of all time. And that becomes the reality. Anybody can say they're the greatest. I'll do it right now. I'm the greatest reaction channel of all time. Does that make it real? Hell no. You know, actually, in my opinion, I rescind that statement because that makes me look like an idiot, you know, or sound like an idiot. It's a stupid thing to say. I'm the greatest of all time, unless you're joking around, but he was dead serious when he said it. You know, that one right there made me the greatest of all time. You know, and then he's doubled down and tripled down on it since then, even telling his son Bronny to call him GOAT, you know? Like, and he's recording these things. These are in the public eye. So, no, it's... Scottie said it right, and in fact, that's one thing that even enemies of each other have all agreed. Like, Isaiah Thomas will agree with Scottie Pippen on that one. Like, LeBron, like, if you're really that great, you don't need to say it. People will say it for you. I guess not enough people are saying it for him, so he feels insecure about it. But that also proves that you're not that great. You know? If your body of work is not enough to speak on its own, and you're insecure about it, so you feel like you have to change the narrative and push an agenda that you are the greatest, this is pretty pathetic now. This is embarrassing now.
In July 2020, following the airing of The Last Dance, Pippen publicly addressed MJ for the first time. Hear what he had to say when asked about how his relationship with Jordan has evolved over the years.
So let's go back to the beginning. When you joined the Bulls, how was he to you? How did you all get along?
I gotta have a drink on that.
No, interesting question.
Me too.
I don't think I've seen this one.
When I first came to the Bulls, my relationship with Horace Grant was very close. We got drafted together. We flew on the same plane to come in. We had a press conference, so we immediately bonded like brothers. And we started working out together, and you know, we just grew, and we were inseparable. Michael had a little problem with that. And really, it was more of a problem with him and Horace. Horace and Michael really didn't really see eye to eye. Horace was a twin, so he believed in everything being equal. And there were days when Michael would play 45 minutes, maybe even 48 minutes, and Horace just didn't understand. The next day, Phil would tell Michael, you don't have to practice.
Oh, yeah.
So Horace felt like that he was getting a special treatment. So that kind of put a little space in between our relationship, but it kind of made it difficult for me to balance my relationship with Horace, but also try to be Michael's friend too. So as time passed, my relationship with Horace was still strong, but as Horace became a free agent, he just decided he didn't want to be here anymore. And my relationship with Michael, I guess, came a little closer because I was kind of the player that had the longest tenure as far as playing here with him. So we just kind of, you know, and we had won 3 championships before Horace Grant, so don't let me forget about that. So, but we were a close-knit team, but Horace just really never felt comfortable here.
Very interesting. Now, did you get any preview when Michael walked away, or were you as dumbfounded as the rest of us?
A quick interjection I want to make, just because I watched this the short video last night, and it was about Horace Grant, and it was about him being in Orlando, and this might shine a little light on why Jordan didn't like him as much. It's gonna drive me nuts, and I'm gonna remember it later. But it was an ex NBA player, a star, in fact, like a legendary power forward, I believe it was, and he was out there helping Chuck Daly in Orlando, in the very beginning when Horace Grant was out there, and he expressed massive frustration because he was like, "Listen, Horace is a great role player, and he could have actually been a star." But he didn't want to be. And he was talking about how frustrated he was because he saw the potential in Horace, and he was trying to work with Horace on his weaknesses, offensively especially. But Horace just wasn't having any of it. And I could totally envision, my first thought was like, no wonder why there was a little issues between Horace and Jordan, because Jordan is constantly trying to achieve another level of greatness and overcome all of his weaknesses. But if Horace was just... It's just like the person said, Horace was perfectly fine with being a role player, which is nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to be on, a team with the greatest of all time is probably going to have some different expectations for you, overcome your weaknesses year after year and become the best version of yourself you can possibly be. Now, Scottie Pippen, I can totally understand why Michael Jordan picked Scottie Pippen as the protege, because Scottie did actually work on his weaknesses. And Scottie, especially in those first couple of years, those first like 4 or 5 years together, Scottie was improving at an astronomical level year over year over year over year. And he kind of peaked around 94, 95. But that was a lot of years of growth for Scottie Pippen. So, of course, Jordan wanted to buddy up with him because they can push each other to get greater. It's hard to get great and overcome your weaknesses by yourself. But if you have a like-minded individual on your team that can push you and you can push them, it's like having a gym buddy. It's the same exact thing as having a gym buddy. Keeps you accountable, keeps you focused. And, yeah, but I just chimed in just because I think that explains a little bit about Horace Grant. He only wanted to be a role player. So when he was playing for Penny and Shaq in Orlando, he just wanted to be that role player, which is respectable, but that's why Jordan probably had a problem with that.
I was dumbfounded as the rest of you guys.
Hold on. Let me get that question in.
Did you get any preview when Michael walked away? Or were you as dumbfounded as the rest of us?
I was dumbfounded as the rest of you guys. It was a surprise. It was pretty shocking. I thought we were the best in the world.
They were.
We just couldn't be stopped, and we were at such a dominant level. Like, why would you, turn this down? But, he had other things going on in his life that, he had to deal with. And still to this day, we don't know what those issues were, why he left the game.
Beyond his father? Wasn't that the main thing?
I don't know if it was his father that made him leave the game. I don't know. But whatever the reason was, it worked out great for us when he came back.
Well, and how about the 2 seasons when you were the alpha male, when you were the guy? Was that enjoyable? I mean, you had all the pressure on you then, and you guys played great. And Hugh Hollins posed you. But in general, how was that stretch for you? Did you enjoy
it
it?
Definitely helped Scottie grow. Excuse me. Yeah, Scottie definitely grew during that time. And I think he grew to appreciate Jordan a little more, too, as he was asking him to come back. In, 94, 95, he was asking Jordan to come back, even visually on camera. And I thought that would have lasted. It looks like it lasted a long time, but it's dead now. I hope it changes.
It was the most enjoyable time of my NBA career at that time. I enjoyed playing with Michael, don't get me wrong, and winning, that's the ultimate goal. But it was an opportunity for me to really have a team of my own and to be able to kind of see where I would put myself in the league amongst other superstars. And I felt like we had a great season, 2 seasons.
You had one good season.
Did Michael, did he sort of come to you and say, hey, I'm thinking about coming back, or did he just come back?
No, he didn't come to me and say nothing. He started like...
He's not very collaborative.
He started showing up.
You know what? That second year he was out, you could see, now that I know this, you could see like it was starting to pull him back in because he started to stop by practice, and then he'll, come to a game
So he was starting to feel like he was missing us more than we were missing him.
When people have asked you, LeBron or MJ, who would you take? What do you say?
Bro, I'm taking MJ all day, every day.
Man, I miss that Scottie Pippen so much. By the way, short little tidbit: B.J. Armstrong was the one who was in contact with Michael Jordan and asking him, like, actually, like, kind of like peer pressuring him, having breakfast with him and stuff, and being like, "Hey, MJ, like, why don't you just show up at practice, say hi to the guys?" And like Jordan was so uncomfortable with it, but BJ said like he could tell like there was something going on here. Like Jordan wanted to do this, but he probably just felt uncomfortable and awkward about it. Like he's gonna be stepping on some toes or something. But he's like, man, just come by, you know, just come by after breakfast. You know, I'm going to practice. You can come with me. You know, just come say hi to the guys. The guys would like to see you. And slowly but surely, that turned into, well, why don't you practice with us? All right, well, then why don't you just come back? And then the rest is history. 3 more championships later, you all know how the rest goes. But, yeah, you can tell Jordan was, it had to be hard. That first season away, while he's playing baseball, and then the Bulls were actually doing pretty good without him. You know, they were making a decent playoff run, and they got eliminated eventually by the New York Knicks. He had to be like, okay, these guys are in an okay place. But then in 94, 95 season, the Bulls absolutely fell apart. You know, they got the roster started changing, and it was a crap show out there in Chicago for that season. And I could definitely assume that was hard for Jordan to watch, because it's just 1 year after he leaves, like the team is collapsing on itself. And so he starts showing up and thinking, maybe I can help these guys. And then eventually, yeah, there it was. He did come back, and I could say he definitely helped. He definitely helped. You know, he couldn't do it that first year in 95, but, you know, after that was it. Boom, boom, boom. 3 more championships. Anyways, this is the Scottie Pippen I miss. I hope to hear from this Scottie Pippen again someday. You know, we're all getting older. And listen, I know he was going through a lot of personal stuff when he was bashing Jordan and bashing Phil, and we went on this rampage. That stuff could be forgivable, man. If he gets sober, you know, I don't know what his situation is now. I don't know if he's still, you know, under high influence or if he's sober. But if he can get clean, making a quick little apology tour, it wouldn't take much, and just say like, no, I was totally wrong. I wasn't well. You know, like me and MJ, we go way back. Me and Phil go way back. Like, you know, I take back everything I said, and I'm asking for forgiveness. It would be hard for me to imagine that these guys wouldn't forgive him, you know? Like, but it takes an apology in order to do that. And the problem is that Scottie, even when he's sober, he's always doubled and tripled down on his mistakes. We saw that in The Last Dance whenever they asked him, like, about the controversial things, like him not getting surgery until the beginning of the season as a protest to the general manager. Like, and they asked him, like, would you do that again? And he was like, yeah, I would do it again. Same way. Like, so he doesn't really learn from his mistakes, which is the sad thing. So I don't imagine him apologizing. But, man, it's just unfortunate because I missed that mutual praise between Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. And MJ never messed that one up. Scottie really blew it, and it's just unfortunate. Anyways, everybody, that's why this is so difficult for me, because I'm sure a lot of you have forgotten, as I have, just how close they were and how much mutual respect there was between them. And there was never a hint of jealousy from Scottie Pippen until he fell on hard times personally. And then all of a sudden, all this bitterness came out. But yeah, everybody, I've rambled enough about this topic for today. Thank you very much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. If you do, I've got a cool one for you later tonight. I will see you there, and I'll see you in the comments. I'm very interested about this one to see what you guys have to say about this. All right, everyone. Peace out.